Welcome to Dr. Balga's podcast for the Curious Doc. Today is 22nd December 2025. This video is on an analytical review published in Science magazine on recent discoveries on the acquisition of the highest levels of human performance. I also will briefly mention the book Range by David Epstein. The subtitle is Why Journalists Triumph in a Specialized World. It's a New York Times bestseller. What does this science article address? How the world's highest levels of performance are acquired across different domains. Which domains were analyzed? Sports, science, classical music, chess, and other elite achievement fields. What is the scale of the data reviewed? Developmental data from 34,000 adults, international top performers. Why is the review novel? It focuses on adult world-class performers rather than youth or sub-elite groups. Are early high performers usually later world-class performers? No. Early and later exceptional performers are largely distinct populations. How large is the overlap between the early and late elites? Typically only about 10 to 15%, often closer to 10%. Did world-class performers dominate early? Mostly did not. Many are outperformed by peers in their youth. What is the relationship between early and peak performance? Across elites, early performance is negatively correlated with peak performance. What predicts early exceptional performance? Early specialization and a high discipline specific practice, I guess like Tiger Woods. What predicts adult world-class performance? More early multidisciplinary practice and slower early progress, probably like Federer. What is meant by multidisciplinary practice? Sustained engagement in multiple disciplines during early development. How many additional disciplines are typical? On an average, 2 additional disciplines are avocations. How does early progress differ in world-class performers? They show more gradual improvement rather than early acceleration. What evidence supports this pattern in science? Nobel laureates progress more slowly early than nominees. What evidence supports this pattern in sports? World-class athletes specialize later and practice fewer hours. What evidence supports this pattern in chess? Top adult players rank lower than peers at younger ages. What is the search and match hypothesis? Exploration helps individuals find domains best suited to their talents. What is the enhanced learning capital hypothesis? Diverse learning builds transferable cognitive and learning capacities. What is the limited risk hypothesis? Breadth reduces burnout, injury, and career-ending risks. Why do these findings challenge deliberate practice theory? They show that more early practice is not optimal for peak performance. Are these findings consistent across domains? Yes. Remarkably consistent across physical and cognitive domains. Do world-class performers still practice extensively? Yes, but with less early overload and more long-term balance. What does this imply for talent identification? Early top performance is a poor criterion for long-term excellence. What does this imply for training programs? Programs should delay specialization and encourage breadth. What is the central conclusion of this article? Exceptional performance emerges from breadth, patience, and adaptability. So, how does this article compare with the book Range by David Epstein? They have a shared conclusion. Early specialization and rapid early success are unreliable predictors of peak excellence. The Range by David Epstein is a narrative, a cross-domain synthesis. It discusses sampling periods, the importance of adaptability and skill transfer. Journalists thrive in a complex environment, according to him. The science review by Güllich et al. It's an empirical review of 34,000 elite performers. Both early and peak performers are largely distinct. in this study, findings of the study. Multidisciplinary practice predicts world-class outcomes. The key takeaway, the book by David Epstein provides a framework, while the science article provides the data, and both support breadth, delayed specialization, and long-term development. Podcast brought to you by masterbedfacts.com. This podcast is for physicians and healthcare providers. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and forward to your friends.